Is everybody ready to march?
The kind of power that you have with the drum makes it a really useful tool for the disempowered kind of people that are the ones that are going to be protesting. And if you amplify that by having a lot of people play drums, then you really can make a big impression in terms of, you know, the sound that you're making. You can be noticed. And I'm not sure it was intended to be a political organization in the beginning. I think not. It was more just a performing percussion group, and the political end sort of happened. It just happened to be in the same spot as the demonstrations. So we ended up recruiting a lot of people from the demonstrators, and they became a good percentage of the group.
It is kind of a music of, you know, I've heard it described as a music of rebellion and protest. So, and it's kind of cool because we see, like, we turn on the TV and we see like some big protest in Germany, and there's a samba school leading the parade. Although you're not supposed to have too much fun at a protest, you know, you're at a peace march, you know, you're supposed to be serious and stuff, so we kind of, you know, scowl a little bit more, but it's still fun, you know, we're having a lot of fun.
Brazilian samba is very political in general. It's more of kind of a class issue, that it's done more by poor people, and they reflect the issues that they're dealing with as conflicts in Brazil now, and the conflicts of poverty and capitalism. And those conflicts get expressed in the samba, in the music, in the songs, in the dancing. And there's a lot of theoretical writing about whether samba is an expression of rebellion of the working class.
The music is based on West African rhythms. It's very similar to, you know, the basic structures and the different. It's a polyrhythms. There's usually like 3 or 4 rhythms going on at the same time.
Some of those elements are the same kind of thing. You know, whether you're dancing and having fun, or whether you're shouting slogans. In the sense of being out in the street as a group, having group unity, those are real common themes that run throughout, you know, carnival or political protest. So we play on those, you know, intentionally.
This is the ultimate samba machine, because I can put all sorts of surdus in here. And it's also good because nobody thinks of ripping it off, because it's a 1971, so you don't have to worry about it.
Ensenada Carnival is a big event that we've been playing for about 8 years. It's a carnival. It's the biggest carnival in Northwest Mexico. The first thing we do is we go to the fish market and we get fish tacos.
This stuff is so good. It's got a great texture. I guess it's a sea bass, yeah.
50 a kilo.
It's like $2 a pound. It's rocking.
My van, I mean, it runs great, but as soon as I cross the border, when I stop it, the starter won't start. But I always have a big group of drummers with me, so they just jump out and push start the van. So it works out okay, you know. People have to push a little for their ride. Then the next stop is Cafe and see if anybody's there who's with the group who's already there, and have some coffee. And it's our home base. It's our home away from home.
Go see the fish market. Yeah, behind the fish market. There's this big sea lion. He's going, give me a fish. Yeah, that's cool.
We're gonna meet you then by 1:30 at the hotel.
Okay, and that way we'll know.
1:30.
Yeah, because you
No,
said
no,
we're
no,
not gonna go to
no, no.
parade till late.
I have to be in the parade at 1.
So we should be there like 12:30.
Or actually before that.
Okay.
You don't have to be there, but I mean that's.
where is the
If you're gonna, because you need to be there if you want to do choreography. It starts at the end of Costero. I don't know. It's out of control. It's just a huge samba school. I mean, who knows? I can't control it. It's anarchy. I just finished explaining this. Do you have a map? Who did I give the map to?
We have it.
Do you have to know?
I want to know. Okay, you just tell me.
Carnival is sort of a Catholic thing. It's a pre-Lenten celebration that started in Italy. Really, I think it started in Florence or Venice. I think it was Venice, but it's throughout the Catholics' cultures. And of course, during Lent, you give up flesh. Carnival means flesh is going away. So before you give up flesh for 40 days, you want to indulge in it as much as you can and get as much of it as you can before you have to give it up. So that's what Carnival's all about. We do parades, which are fun, and it's crazy. And there's a lot of people at night just partying, and riot cops, platoons of riot police to keep them in control. And usually we play for a Chiapas support group, a Zapatista group.
If we want, we can come out if people still want to keep jamming.
That's a lot of playing though.
It is, yeah. But people go nuts. It's Carnival.
I think if we were getting some more support, just like financial support, we would be more willing and quicker to do stuff like just like fundraisers for homeless projects, and I think that's really what I would rather be doing anyway. I'm not really, in this year especially, I've been so disenchanted with just the way that our whole society's set up on such a corporate scale, and there's such an underdog now, like a poverty-stricken underdog, and that's global, obviously, but even in the United States, it's getting worse. And I'm just here I just want to support like the things I do. I know my interests are like dance mainly, but if I can make a difference on a political level, I would love to. And if that means playing for schools, playing for benefits, and with nonprofit status, we'll be able to be seen more in the public eye as like positive community workers, actual people who are out working for the better of the people as a whole.
We're playing at the jail, but it's really a museum that used to be the old jail. So we've played there the last couple times, and the money that they make from our show goes to the Zapatistas. Yeah. The Zapatistas are the group who in Chiapas, they kind of have their own little revolution going on there. It's a group of really poor people who live under a really feudalistic system, and they're trying to get a little democracy down there. And so throughout Mexico, there's people who support the Zapatistas.
So these Carnival festivals became opportunities for the repressed classes, the slaves, to exhibit their African culture. So they started parading, and more it became a bigger celebration of African and non-European festivities. Capoeira, Afro-Brazilian martial art, it was developed by African slaves who used dance and music intermixed with their martial arts to disguise the fact that they were doing martial arts. And it became illegalized in Brazil as the ruling class didn't want any manifestations of African culture that were threatening to the Portuguese rulers. So they would illegalize capoeira. So at times when they were playing capoeira in the streets, a lot of times the police would come. And then they would notice and they would play a certain rhythm on the berimbau that warned people police were coming. So they start changing and they just start doing samba. And they would tell, oh, officer, we're just dancing. Just dancing. When they leave, they start playing capoeira again.
We sort of integrate ourselves with those events and then kind of draw from that community too.
Like chapas?
Chapas benefits, definitely. You know, Ensenada, we've got a whole following in Ensenada that we, you know, people see us there and then come play with us sometimes when we're down there, or even sometimes come up north and play with us. So all these little communities we play with, people in LA, actually, that's crazy. I can't see anybody driving down to LA to play with us, but they do, and I don't know why.
It's really amazing the way the drum beats are and the percussion. You can't find it anywhere else. I've tried looking for samba schools in Los Angeles, and it's just not the same. It's not the same feeling as coming here every Sunday to Balboa Park and dancing with Leo and all the other dancers and listening to their music. So they're really, really amazing. So for me to come back for 2 hours, 2.5 hours in traffic every weekend, really, I have to like them a lot to do that. That's like more dedication than to a boyfriend, you know.
So anyway, we started in the summer of '91, just playing in Balboa Park, practicing. And then there was the Gulf War that came up, or the leading up to the Gulf War that actually became a hot war. They had demonstrations in Balboa Park. So they had marches in Balboa Park every Sunday at I think it was 1 o'clock. So we just sort of tied in really well to our regular rehearsal time. We're in the heavy recruitment phase in this group. And if we're looking at our ideal of a real style samba school, of having 300 drummers and maybe different groups for a total of maybe 700 dancers for about 1,000 performers. You know, working towards that ideal, you know, we're not even there. We're not even started recruiting people. So we're heavy into recruiting people. We're almost like a cult, you know, like oh, you want to play with us? Okay, give us your name, email, address, and availability, and we'll invite you to every practice and every gig we have and get you set up in a costume and teach you the instruments and be able to dance the drum in 3 seconds.
I was doing salsa a couple years back, and a friend of a friend told me that some guy, this crazy guy that they work with, needed salsa dancers. So I showed up at the practice of Supersonic Samba School, and well, hey, I'm here for a salsa. This crazy white guy with a big fro, Edwin, greeted the door. He's all, no man, this isn't salsa, it's samba. I'm all, what's samba? And he starts wigging out with his feet. And I'm all, cool. He's all, can you do it? I'm all, yeah. Could I get into street scene for free? He's all, yeah. I'm like, cool, I'm there.
We've generally found that people at least come here sometimes to the park expecting to see us, and they organize their parties. They have their kids have their parties here, thinking, okay, on Sunday there'll be some drummers and they'll know they can have the party here and have free entertainment kind of thing. So people come here, I think, to the park coming to see us. You know, having the rehearsal in public is really good for getting over stage fright and performing in public. And that's, I think, a really good thing that we wouldn't get if we were in a warehouse somewhere, a studio. Having playing your drums or dancing in public, knowing that people in the car, anybody could drive by in their car and see you, or anybody could walk by and see you, it's kind of nervous. It makes people really nervous. It helps them get over that idea of performing in public, which is, I think, the main obstacle to any of our performers. I think they've grandfathered us in as not, being something that they're going to be able to move, because we're not going to move. They don't want us to move. If they try to move us again, we're going to march down to their administrative building and play outside of that building. They're going to have more of a hassle doing that. So they keep us in our little spot, and that's probably better for them and for us. If they don't try to move us.
Sort of reclaim public space with that.
I think so. I think so. There's been a chant these days, like, whose streets, our streets. So in a sense, it's like, whose park, our park. This is our park. We pay for it. It's ours. I think we have sort of helped define this as kind of a drumming subculture area. So this country's all about freedom of speech as long as no one hears you. The political message of the drums is really intangible. It doesn't have a defined political message. But in a sense, just the idea of people being on the street making noise, that really goes against our whole cultural tradition of sitting on a couch watching TV. And if you amplify that by having a lot of people play drums, then you really can make a big impression in terms of the sound that you're making. You can be noticed. And I think that's the whole thing with freedom of speech, is getting away from people just talking to themselves in a closet. And freedom of speech means actually being heard by somebody.
So you're out in the sun and you're just being happy, and there's very few things now in life that you can do just to be happy.